a.m. and we have got storms already starting to pound across the areas. We expected we were going to see some pretty good activity this morning, and it has not disappointed. In fact, let me try to get updated here. I'm going to get our radar up and running. We got a couple of different issues that we're running into this morning. We've got some flash flood warnings that are down closer to the coast. Meanwhile, we've also had a tornado warning that was not a confirmed tornado. It's what we call a radar indicated tornado. That was down in parts of Wharton County. Some rotation with that. I was just reading with the National Weather Service, and they said they were going to just let it expire at 4 o'clock, but certainly something that they were watching very carefully. So let's get you to it. Bounce around to a couple of different spots here. And of course, myself, Sophia Noah, and we'll see you first at 5 a.m. when we get you started. But I want to hop on early just in case you happen to hear some good rumbles of thunder and rolling around the house and thinking to yourself, what is going on? Well, that's basically what it is. So let's put the storm tracker in motion over the last hour just to get a sense of the general direction. Just like yesterday, these are all sliding in from the coast, right? And that's where the majority of our heaviest rain is. They're really getting hammered again. That's 2 warnings in a row here for parts right around Bay City, Palacios, over towards Port Lavaca, for example. And we've got flash flood warnings because of the heavy rain they saw yesterday. So add this morning onto that. And let's put a stop on this here. Notice we've got a severe thunderstorm warning. That is until 4:45. My guess is that's probably for some strong wind gusts, maybe upwards of 60 miles an hour, and likely up to some pea-sized hail. And in fact, look in the center of storm. Yeah, right about there. We were seeing some of those. So, yeah, good indication, almost 2-inch hail. That's getting up close to quarter-size hail, almost golf ball size hail, if it were to get up to about 2 inches. So that may be something for folks down that way from, Bay City down to Palacios. That's where we're running into some of those issues. Meanwhile, this was the storm cluster right here. You can see it just north of Wharton. This is the one that had the tornado warning on it right near Kendleton. So Kendleton up towards Beasley at this point, looking like they're going to get hit pretty hard. Nothing that we're seeing so far on this that is causing too much trouble. That's certainly the good news. But still, dying thunderstorms this hour can still get you pretty wet if you're headed out there. And then, of course, east side really getting hammered right now. This is anywhere from, right across Highway 90. There's Jacinto City over towards Channelview. Notice as you go just east of there, not a whole lot of rain, but because of the rain that's already fallen, we've got an aerial flood advisory. That goes until 7 o'clock this morning. So it's going to be a fairly active morning across many of the locations out here if you are headed out and about. So just make sure that you are careful if you are. Once again, these are all moving north around 17 miles an hour. You can see that starting to push its way up across parts. There's Kingwood and Humble. You've got the Beltway 8, Tascasita just south of there. Bush Airport, thankfully, at this hour, no flights taking out, but we'll see how long these storms last before, if that's going to be continuing to be an issue. And then, of course, right across parts of downtown. Now, if you're leaving the house and you're trying to get into downtown, just know that anywhere from right across the East Tex as you get over towards 45, Hardy Tollway, this whole section right there across the Heights is getting hammered pretty good. From Hardy Street to Liberty Avenue, Fulton, Kelly Street, Elysian, the Viaduct, and of course, certainly as you get up across Main Street there, trying to crisscross into the Heights. So it does look like right outside of Dyken Park there as you get into the east side. Again, this is going to continue to slowly push its way northward over the next, 2 to 3 minutes here. Still moving north at around 17 miles an hour, and not much in the way of any kind of hail falling from any of these that I've seen. I think this is mainly just precautionary of some of these big storms that they put on there. But you get the idea. If we widen this back out, it's not just here, but we've got some pretty nasty weather up on the north and northeast side, too, especially up northwest here. All of these flashing boxes here across the Brazos, these are all flash flood warnings, active ones, too. And that's just because of the heavy rain over the last couple of days. That goes until 6:45. That's over towards Falls, Texas there, right around Cameron. And then as we go a little further towards Calvert, into Franklin and Braymond, all of these areas here in particular, and especially back off to the south. So if you're up around Bryan College Station, if you happen to get a quick clap of thunder and you woke up, heads up, this cluster is headed right up the road here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. We'll see that, and we're still looking at some back off to the west. Now, as I mentioned, let's put this in motion just over the last hour, just so folks can get a better sense of what we're seeing. You see, generally, this is all drifting northward. Interestingly, though, if you look at the arrows generally are trying to slide this east right along the coastway here for this big cluster that we have down there in parts of Matagorda Bay. So this is likely going to be the first round. We will see another round as we get later on into this afternoon, but right now it's really just a question of what's out there. So if you just happen to be getting up with us this morning, I'm meteorologist Justin Stapleton. It's just about 4:05 on this Thursday morning. We thought we'd jump on real early and just get a quick update of what's happening. And then, of course, Owen and Sophia and myself will join you at 5 o'clock for the full 2-hour show. So right now, we're still looking. This was the tornado warned storm. Now, again, there was nothing on the ground. It's just what they call a radar indicated tornado. So it's just some rotation within the cloud. And the Weather Service said, you know, let's just go ahead and put a tornado warning on that. Notice that lasted for about 12 minutes, and then they allowed that to expire. So there's the storm system right now that we've got, this cluster. This is all pushing its way from right out toward East Bernard, Kendleton, Beasley, Rosenberg. In fact, let me turn the lightning counter on there. We'll just leave that up into the corner for folks that are interested in how much more lightning we're seeing with those. And yeah, if you look at some of these down here, back off towards the south and west, boy, oh boy, really getting hammered pretty good from Bay City over to Palacios. This is the same spots yesterday, as I mentioned, that saw some pretty heavy rainfall. That's why we've got aerial flood advisories, these green boxes. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings. This red flashing box in the center, that is a flash flood warning. Let's see how that goes. Probably until at least 6 or 7 this morning. Let's see, that is until 6:30. All right, so there you go. That'll give you a good indication of the type of wet weather that we have down at the coast here. So this is going to continue to pound its way across parts of the metro. So we'll go up on the north side here, you know, Woodlock on over 242, sliding over towards the East Tex, over to Splendora and Roman Forest, even up towards Cleveland, looking at potential for some heavy rain there. And then same thing as you crisscross back over 105 over towards Cut and Shoot, Panorama Village, and then right across the southern half of the lake there from, you know, Montgomery, just outside of Willis. So Montgomery County seeing some pretty heavy rain. Same thing over to Navasota. You see that in the central southern sections of Grimes County. We've got a lot of heavy rain that's starting to pop through. And then as we head back on down, as we mentioned, downtown, pretty good soaker going on right now. Not a whole lot of mess out across the station. We're right here in Southwest, if you're familiar. So if you're trying to get into downtown, looks like you're going to be okay. Now, if you're coming in from either the north or the east side, especially if you're coming in from Northeast Harris County here in particular, just be really careful. If you do not have to leave over the next, let's say 30 minutes, don't. Just wait for this, and here I'll show you why. Because if you look at this over the last hour, you know, these are all tracking northward, and they're slowing down just a bit, but at least they're on the move. And so I would not be shocked if we see an aerial flood advisory or even a flash flood warning pop up right here across parts of, you know, around Crosby, for example, up in Northeast Harris County. So that's why I said, if you're up in this area and you're watching us and you can see the flashes outside and the rain is pounding on your roof, just give it 30 minutes or so. You definitely want to make sure that you give yourself some time to get out of there, because this is going to be pretty messy. And then same story, as we said, right across much of the metro. So there's a good chance. Let's actually go out and see what's happening on the road. See, here's what it looks like right across the Southwest Freeway. This is from here at the KPRC 2 studios. You can see some of the flashes in the background, but so far, so good. We're not running into any problems with that. And that's certainly the good news, right? We'll take that as best we can. Let me run over here real quick and switch up the future track, because this is the future track from this morning, but I want to make sure that I get an opportunity to show you what the latest is on that. So give me about 2 seconds, and then we'll pop off the air here. And of course, Owen and Sophia and myself will see you at 5 o'clock. And our own Brittany Jeffers will be out in the storm tracker, getting ready to make sure that there are roads. If they are bad, you do not need to go on them. She will let you know where they are. All right, so let's run this real fast here. And then, of course, as we mentioned, we'll hop off and just get you a better sense of what we're seeing. So that said, here's what it looks like in terms of our future track. So right about where we thought the storms would be, and then notice as we get to about 7, 8 o'clock, things continue to see a pretty wet forecast through the rest of the morning, and it does look like it's probably going to extend into at least the early part of the afternoon. I think similar to what we saw yesterday. By the time we get to about 4, 5, 6 o'clock, that'll all be winding down. And once it winds down, that's all she wrote after that. So that is what I think we're going to be dealing with through the rest of the day today. So real quick, let's hit you over towards the Chroma Key wall here. Quick look at the update here over the last 45 seconds before we hop off. And we'll continue to monitor this here at the KPRC2 Weather Center. If we've got any major issues or new warnings that happen to pop up, we'll jump back on the air here and get you a better sense of what we're seeing. But bottom line is this: we've got these clusters of thunderstorms moving through the area, anywhere from College Station over to parts of Montgomery County, and especially this big cluster here on the east side from, you know, right outside of the 5th Ward, moving up into parts of Northeast Harris County. If you do not have to leave, do not leave. Certainly give yourself some extra, you know, if you don't have to get out the door till 5, wait. And I think most of this will be gone and we should be A-OK after that. We'll watch this cluster sliding northward up towards the greater Katy area. Other than that, please be safe if you head out, even if you don't have to head out for the next hour. So these roads are going to remain wet through a good chunk of the morning. And of course, I'll see you coming up starting at 5.